Alright, well, a bunch of you are probably wondering what you just saw over there. So this game, Friday Night Funkin, also Funky Friday on Roblox, I was playing a live stream the other day, and everybody voted for this game. So we came in here, and I had to play it. And as you can see right here, I am not very good at this game. This is me playing the game manually. I thought pretty much when I played this game, this is so difficult. This is for robots. This is not for human beings, or people who want to practice and get to know where all the notes are. But I thought, you know what, since it does seem like it's for robots, I figured I would take my engineering knowledge and inspired by Mark Rober, of course, I decided that I am going to make myself a robot that will play this game all by itself. So let's get to the details on that robot, and then we're going to show you how this bad boy performs. And guys, you got to check it out. This thing actually shreds. So like with any other engineering project, I just started on paper. I've got really bad handwriting, but I managed to at least sort of draw somewhat what I am thinking about. We've got a flow chart over here, some of the logic behind it, and the hardware we're going to use. Then we kind of create a more detailed schematic, basically showing what it is. We do a little testing, some experimenting. I've got a light-driven solenoid, and then we bring it over to the LEDs. Little testing over there, so another level of engineering there. And then we bring it to the solenoids once those show up in the mail, of course.
Okay, so let's take a closer look at this robot and talk a little bit about how it works. I know it doesn't look that great, but we've got wires, we've got things. This is a little bit of a raw setup, as you can see. So first thing that we've got going on right here, we've got photo sensors in here. So what we have underneath this tape, I've got basically right here like a piece of cardboard, and then inside of the cardboard I've got embedded 4 of these little photo sensors. So what these things are, these are photo sensors, also known as LDRs, or light dependent resistors. Depending on the amount of light, these things will put out a different level of resistor. So that resistance value, if it's changed or not changed, whatever, the resistance value comes through here, and then there's a voltage that is read right here that feeds into the input of an Arduino board. So the Arduino board, basically the logic in here, initially what we're going to do is there's an initialization. We basically calibrate and we look at what the low value is. So I do a calibration basically with everything nice and dark, and then after that I turn it on after it goes through 4 seconds of calibration, feeds those inputs from the photo sensors up here into the Arduino board. Then right here, when there's an input, the Arduino board will feed a digital output that goes over here to this relay. So this relay right here just powered over at 5 volts on this side, but these solenoids right here, these need 12 volts. So we've got a 12 volt supply right here, which supplies up to 30 amps of current. Now these pull about 2.5 amps each, so a total of 10, like if they're all going in at the same time, but that would make these wires a little bit hot, but usually they're not all going in at the same time. So this relay right here basically isolates that 5 volts over here from the 12 volts over here. And basically when there's a digital signal coming out, it will turn this relay switch over to the other side. And then when it does that, it shorts out the wires to the solenoids with the 12 volts right here. So then the solenoids are getting 12 volts, and then they will go down, boom, like that. And then we've got a keyboard underneath here. So this right here, you can see that we were trying to initially go for this, but it just didn't work. The solenoids were too big and I couldn't space them far enough apart. So we had to go with this configuration over here, and it seems to work pretty well. So that's pretty much it as far as describing how the hardware works. We got photo sensors feeding into an Arduino input, and then we've got that driving an output, which goes through a relay, which drives the solenoids. So if we're gonna take a look at the schematic for this real quick, this is the Arduino board. We're basically feeding an input right here. This is the photo sensor, so we're checking the voltage. When this sensor changes, the resistance changes, this voltage will change. So we look at a change in the voltage right here, then that drives an output, which goes through a resistor. This is actually a relay, and in here we've got a transistor, but instead of using a transistor, we use a relay because that's just a lot easier, and it makes it switch nice and quick. We've got a diode across the solenoid here, and then this is the solenoid, which is going up and down. Over here, we've got basically a different output, which is feeding an LED. So this was just for testing, so we could drive LEDs before the solenoids actually came in the mail. So that is what the schematic basically looks like, except for this part. We've removed this part because we don't need the LEDs going right now. Now, if we were to take that and basically multiply it by 4, this is pretty much the circuitry that we've got over here. We've got a 12 volt supply driving the solenoids over here, running through some relays. And then over here, this is where we're sensing all the different voltages, and all the 4 voltages feed into the Arduino board, and then that feeds the output for the solenoids.
All right, well, that's probably enough nerd stuff for now, so let's check out how it performs in the game.
3, 2, 1, go! 2, 1, go!
Alright, do you think you guys can take on the bot? Other YouTubers, let me know if you think you can take them on. If you're new here, I would love to have you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later. Now, I know that some of you guys may say,
oh, you're basically cheating on.
but like Mark Rober, I would respond,
Well, I mean, cheating's a strong word.
Cheating!
I'm using an advantage I might have created myself.
also, thank you, Mark, for the inspiration.